And I include myself in that. I didn't once think, oh, I'm not going to upgrade. I'm just going to play this on my Xbox One S and everything will be fine. So now that Starfield is finally released, and most people have actually gotten a chance to play this game, especially if you were really hyped for it, some of our Xbox brethren might be feeling left out right now because they don't have a Series S or they don't have a Series X or a compatible PC to actually play this game. Well, I've got some good news for you guys. I did an experiment here over the weekend and I found out that you can actually play Starfield on your Xbox One and Xbox One S. Well, let me premise first by saying that you actually have to have an Xbox Ultimate subscription to actually cloud game with this for your Xbox One. So you can see right here, I've got my Series 1S hooked up to my TV. I completely disconnected the Xbox Series X. And you can see right here that it pops up showing you can play Starfield. Now you might be wondering how this is even possible since Starfield is absolutely built for the current gen of consoles. And the answer is the thing that Microsoft has been pumping a ton of money and resources into, and that is cloud gaming. I've spoken a whole lot about cloud gaming. I believe it's the way of the future for Microsoft. They've been pushing everything in that direction for a while now. And it honestly astounds me that they would have something as heavy as Starfield to be played on a last-gen console. Overall, after all of the updates, without any DLC download, Starfield comes out to about 150 gigs on my Xbox Series X. The game is of course cutting edge, it is graphically intense, there's a whole lot of action, it's a massive game. So this is a huge task for something like the Xbox One S or even the original Xbox One to try and take on. Now it is all streaming, so it's not exactly the same as using the internal hardware, but this is akin to like trying to run something that was real heavy like Red Dead Redemption 2 on your Xbox 360. And I know what you're asking yourself because I was asking myself the same thing. How well does this game actually run on an older gen console? I hadn't fired up my Xbox One S in a long time, so the very first thing that I saw was updating. So if you don't play your Xbox One S consistently, you're definitely going to need to update this. Just want to say a huge thank you to all of you guys who subscribe to the channel, and if you're not subscribed, consider doing that now. Here I am on the Xbox One S, and you can see right here it has recently added to Game Pass, and Starfield is right here in the list. And you can see right here that it's actually running on the Xbox One S. My Series X is not actually hooked up, so we'll go ahead and click on Starfield, and you see it doesn't actually give you the option to install. It gives you the option to play, but not install, and it's because it's obviously not built for this hardware. So we'll go ahead and click on play. Cloud gaming comes right up, and the next thing that you're going to see is something that I had never seen with cloud gaming before, and I believe it goes back to the fact that I said that Starfield is so big and just such a heavy game. Here's our rocket ship, and typically right now you see the games really start to load up, but here for Starfield, it says almost there. 5 more minutes to your game. So what I believe is actually happening here is that the game is like preloading a bunch of things. Microsoft obviously wanted support for Starfield over cloud gaming, but it's a really interesting question of why. Why would Microsoft actually do this when they know that tons of people were going to go out and buy an updated system, because this is the perfect opportunity to actually make that happen? And I include myself in that. I didn't once think, oh, I'm not going to upgrade. I'm just going to play this on my Xbox One S and everything will be fine. I had been waiting very patiently to actually pick up an Xbox Series X, and with Starfield releasing, in my mind, it was the perfect opportunity because I knew that I was going to want that 4K, that heavy duty power. I didn't want any stuttering. I didn't want any issues. I just wanted to play Starfield. So a legitimate 5 minutes goes by and the game finally loads up. But here it is, Starfield, copyright 2023, ZeniMax Bethesda. Here it is loaded up, and you can notice right away, especially if you've played it on a Series X or a Series S, that the graphic content is not the same. But it popped right up and it showed me that I had saves. Now it said it took a long time to sync, so I just went ahead and put in my last save so I could try the game out. But it went ahead and worked. It synced the data and it found my save file. I went ahead and hit continue, and there's my character, Captain Thunderbuns. And I purposely left my last game off in Neon, which is a heavily populated, very active city. The load times on this are definitely a lot longer. I specifically chose this area because there's a ton of people, there's a ton of things going on, there's a ton of different lights, and there's definitely some stutter in the game. It doesn't run near as smooth, especially when you're panning or turning, or there's a lot of motions in the background. You can definitely see that periodically the game has to like refresh, and it looks like it's almost like a swipe down to get more of that information, but everything loads up. You've got all your inventory, all the items displayed correctly, all of my missions loaded just fine. It's got everything that I've done already saved. So we're gonna go off here to Aquila City and let's see a little bit of outside surroundings. So this is Aquila City. I'm sure I'm giving some spoilers for a lot of you guys, but this is running on the Xbox One S. And it is not terrible. You can definitely see that it's got some jitter, but these graphics for a last gen console are not bad. The game is going to have the most issues when you're in a high intensity situation, when you're doing combat, when you're jetpacking through the air, when there's going to be a whole lot of motion. And you're definitely going to notice that swipe that comes down on the screen to just kind of refresh everything. But overall, this is not bad. This game was actually playable. I actually played it for about 20-30 minutes on this mode just to kind of get a feel for it. And I think if you're somebody who just wants to play Starfield and you're not as hardcore about being able to, see everything in 4K, and you can live with some of these stuttering issues. Now, I do have a caveat to those stuttering issues though. I'll admit, here in the Xbox basement, I do get only Wi-Fi down here. I do not have a hard LAN running straight into my console. And the internet is not super fast here, so I would imagine that if you had this hooked up to a decent internet connection and you had it hardlined into your Xbox One S, the Starfield would play perfectly fine. Now, of course, you're not going to get the best experience for it, but I feel like it's a perfectly acceptable way to enjoy this game without having to upgrade to an S or an X, or dump a bunch of money into your PC to try to play this game. So yes, you can play Starfield on the last gen console and it works pretty well. I personally applaud Microsoft for doing something like this, giving people the ability to play a heavy duty game like Starfield on their last generation console. This really shows Microsoft's commitment to its player base, and it shows that it's really pushing forward with this cloud gaming. If you guys are really feeling experimental, hook up your old Xbox One, hook up your Xbox One S, and play Starfield on it to really get a feel for it. My name is John, this here is the Xbox Basement, and we will see you guys in the next one.